Thank you. Well, hey, have you gotten your Christmas tree yet? And not only do I have an easy way for you to do it, if you don't know what type, we're going to help you out right now. Andrew Bosserman with Cincy Evergreens joining me this morning. And you guys are actually a tree delivery service. You go to what, several different tree farms from across the tri-state?
Sure, yeah. We source our trees from all local tree farms.
Okay.
And we deliver them straight to your door, set them up inside your house, and even take them away and recycle them after the Christmas season.
Do you even bring the stand if we need you to?
If you need one.
Okay, that's perfect. Well, let's first talk about the right type of tree, okay? Because there's nothing like a real tree. I think people get a little intimidated from it. This is a pretty popular one. You hear a lot of times of the Fraser fir, but which one's this?
This is the Canaan fir.
Okay.
It's very similar to a Fraser fir.
What's the difference?
I'm sure. I mean, they look very similar. It's just these keep their needles very well. You also notice the great green color, and they also
They don't have so much
great
on the back, the bottom. Usually the Fraser has a little more white on the bottom. We do the Canaan. I love the Canaan.
Yeah, and they also have pretty strong branches.
Yeah.
So they're great for ornaments.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. And then over here, this one almost looks artificial. It's so beautiful. What is this?
This one here is a Scotch pine.
Okay.
It's more of the traditional Christmas tree that people think of, a little more rounded shape. They keep their needles really well also throughout the Christmas season.
They're a little more prickly, the needles.
They are, and the downside is that they don't have quite as strong branches.
Okay.
So if you have lots of heavy ornaments, you might want to pick a different tree.
Like all the ornaments the kids made in elementary school, made out of clay and Play-Doh, and you dried them and painted them. Yeah, you may want a little bigger one.
Exactly.
What do you recommend, too, as we come back in here, when you talk about the height? So you measure from what, the ground to the ceiling, but I imagine you want to leave room for the star and whatnot.
True, but it's better to go taller rather than shorter because we can always trim this, the top, that part that's called the leader. We can always trim that to make it
So
fit.
this won't, see, I told my wife, she was, oh, you trim that, you're going to kill the tree. You won't kill the tree by trimming that.
No, not at all.
I was right about one thing in my life. That was perfect. That's perfect. Okay, let's talk about down here, the stands, everybody. We're going to come on down nice and low here. We'll talk about the stands here because you don't want this tree falling down in the middle of the night. So how do you properly secure it?
Well, the first thing is make sure you get a sturdy tree stand, preferably like this one made out of steel. Make sure you stand it straight and screw it in very tight. If you have a really tall tree, you can also tie it off with fishing wire to either a window or a railing if you're nearby one.
I've seen some stands too. I think we even had one where there's like a piece of metal in the center and you drill a hole in the bottom of it and prick it through that way too.
That's another way.
Okay. Now watering the tree here. Once you get it in, hot water, cold water, what do you do?
You can use any type. I've heard a lot of recommendations for hot water because it loosens the sap. And
Yeah,
helps the
especially
tree
that
take up
first
better
time.
Water. Yeah, but before you put it in the stand, you also want to make sure to make a fresh cut on the tree.
Okay.
So it can take up a lot of water. And water it immediately and make sure you check frequently, especially the first few days, because it can drink up a lot of water.
Well, I imagine, too, placement of the tree in the house. You don't, I mean, common sense, or you don't want to put it next to a heater vent.
Correct. Or make sure you close the vent if you put it next to a heater.
Okay.
Also, a humidifier works to keep the tree from drying out as quickly.
Nice. I mean, if it's directly over, if the heater's a little off, it's fine. But if you're getting that straight down.
Yeah.
Very good. Cincy Evergreens, going to be a busy next week or two for you guys. How can we reach you?
CincyEvergreens.com.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. We appreciate it. Our time right now is 20 after 9. Let's go over to the alert desk.